you all ready for this. Very serious about big bass. Everything else in life, not so much. Remember, this is very important words from Van Wilder. Don't take life too seriously. You're never getting out alive.
The Fishing Show with JT Kenny is brought to you by Florida Space Coast. Plan your next adventure at visitspacecoast.com. American Bait Works. B&W Trailer Hitches. Ardent Reels. Mercury. Go Boldly. Falcon Boats. Go Fish. Nichols Lures. Trocar. Greenway Plants reminds you to thank a farmer. Power Pole.
Guys, we are on one of my very favorite fisheries. We're on Stick Marsh. This is a lake that's just next to Headwaters. You guys have seen us do some episodes on Headwaters. Well, this is kind of the sister lake to Headwaters. It's been here for a long time. Some of you guys have probably fished this place before. It's been legendary for years and years and years. Stick Marsh and Farm 13. Well, we are taking the Fishing Show with JT Kenny on a little trip today to the Stick Marsh. So everybody, jump on in the boat with us and come along. We're gonna see some big old bass right here in the Palm Bay area. In the back. Oh! He falled off. He's a wee lad. Even the wee lads like the nickel spinnerbait. Looks like a bass, only smaller. You know, so far I'm not seeing any surface activity yet. We're in a giant eelgrass bed. All this water you can see right here is all just a big eelgrass bed. And so yeah, I mean, I started out with topwater. You know, first thing in the morning, start out with topwater. Topwater is usually pretty good early. Here in Florida, it can be good all day long, to be honest with you. It's usually good here early. But I'm not seeing bait fish flickering. I'm not, you know, hearing any whoosh, you know, bass hitting the top, because there's a million fish in this area right here. So I picked up that nickel spinnerbait, you know, just to try to get, obviously they're not coming to the top yet. And they might. I mean, dude, I've seen times down here in Florida where all of a sudden just at 8:30 or 9 o'clock, they just start crushing topwater type stuff, you know. Florida bass are a little weird, but they're big.
I found one. Bass fish. Come here, young man. Nice to have you join the party. My trocar stabbed him. Fella.
You know, so many times when you're in these real expansive areas of grass like this, a lot of times what will hold those fish in a certain area, because you'll be like, there'll be times that you'll find these huge grass beds, but there's like little football field size. Oh, something's happening. Well, I was trying to, might be a good one. I was trying to explain why we're fishing right here, but I guess I'm just gonna show you why we're fishing right here. Ah, he's not that big. Nice one. what I was saying is you'll find so many times before we were rudely interrupted by that fish, what you'll find so many times is there'll be certain little areas in these big grass beds that hold all the fish. And sometimes I have found that it's a different bottom, like it's a little bit harder bottom, or just a different composition of the bottom that'll I don't know if the grass grows different, if it's a little more sparse, if it attracts some more bait fish, maybe those harder bottom areas, like it'll get a little bit more moss on them for the bait fish to eat, and that attracts them. I don't know what it is, but so many times when you find those bass concentrated in one area, if you notice, the bottom will be a lot harder than the rest of it. All right, my rigging's set up for this salt lick, so I'm gonna put, the wind's kind of picking up, so I'm gonna take a little bit heavier weight than I normally would. We're fishing about 4 to 5 feet of eelgrass. I'm gonna go with a 5/16 Freedom tungsten. I just got a little bobber stopper up here, no big deal. Simple rig. Take this 5/16 tungsten, slide it up there. Normally I would use like 3/16, something like that, maybe even an 8. But like I said, as windy as it is today already, and it's early, as windy as it is, I'm gonna have to go to just a bigger weight just to be able to keep contact. And then I'm gonna put Trocar, so beautiful. This is just the TK100, the HD worm hook. Once again, nothing fancy. One of the reasons why I like this HD worm hook though, let me show you real quick. So one of the reasons why I like this HD worm hook so much, see how far above the bend or the eye the point is? See, you got all that much, that's so much more gap, and it just really allows you to get a good hook set. When you got that much, when it's more in line like that, I don't like that. I like there to be plenty of room between here and here. You just get a lot better hook sets that way. I do the San Diego jam knot. The only reason I use the San Diego jam knot is because of the name, and I like to jam. So we're gonna use the San Diego jam knot. Double it. I always just hook it on myself right there, not actually in the skin so much, just on your shirt. Right there, so you get 2 like this, you get both ends. Lay them both next to each other like that, so you got 4 right there. And then take this end and just go around itself 3 times. Unhook yourself, wet it, grab by your teeth right there, pull it tight. And now, other than its name, I'm going to show you why I really like this knot too. You got to have yourself a fancy set of scissors. But what you end up with this knot, when I cut this, you're going to see, I got 3 tag ends. 3 tag ends holds my worm on there better. Fatty. Whoa, hold on to him, Trocar. A little fatty McFattenstein. Man, those Trocars get him. We're doing nothing fancy today, but dragging a worm on the bottom and starting to catch some bass. So this salt lake from NetBait, this is one of the really cool colors that I like. It's called Plum Magic. You can kind of see in the light here from the sun. So for all you old school guys, this color is like, it really reminds me of the old Tequila Sunrise, except it just has blue fleck. instead of green fleck like Tequila Sunrise does. But man, I'm telling you, in these Florida waters, or any place like some of those tannic lakes like in South Carolina and stuff like that, or even some of those, you know, in the mid-Atlantic region, some of those, you know, those tidal waters that kind of have that dark colored water. You know, it's clear, but it's kind of got that dark color. You know, we call it tannic. This color right here, this Plum Magic from that bait. Of course, they make it in the Dagger, they make it in the Pocket Craw, they make it in the Pocket Slim. You know, they make it in a lot of their baits. But for some reason, man, that Plum Magic from that bait is one bad dude. When you have a lake, like, you know, we're here on Stick Marsh today. We're actually on Farm 13 right now, which is the South Lake. When there's so much just flat water, like where we are, it's all just like 4 feet deep. And there's a little place right here where it just comes up like 6 inches. It comes up to 3.5, you know, from 4 feet. And believe it or not, when there's so much vast expanses of flat, just a little 6-inch drop. I mean, it's obviously has some of these fish concentrated right here. So like when you're on Gunnersville or Pickwick or something, you're looking for, you know, a 5-foot drop off or a 10-foot drop off. You know, we're here 6 inches. I mean, it's making the difference for us right now, you know, but everything being relative when there's not a lot of changes. But another thing that when you see a change like that, that's definitely telling you there's something different on the bottom right there. You know what I mean? Like the composition of the bottom has changed. And like we were talking about, that's one thing that can hold some of these fish. Oh yes, yes sir. That's a big one, boys. That's a big one, boys. That's a big one. Oh, he broke me off. Oh, gosh dang it, dude. That was a freaking giant. He didn't break me off. Look, he just freaking came off. Dadgummit. Oh yeah, another great big one. Come up here, fella. Come on up here and meet the team. How about that? They're getting bigger, boys. Nice. There's so many here in Stick Marsh. There's so many fish that size. You know, it's not a giant. It's just a, you know, 3 3/4, probably 4 pounds, you know, before they spawn. But this lake is just so full of fish this size. It's just so much fun to come here and catch them. And don't get me wrong, there's absolute giants in here. And I bet you before the day's out, we're probably going to catch a couple of big ones because we usually do here. But that's one of the most fun things about this lake. There's so many of just like that 3 to 4 pounder in this lake that it's fun. You know, when the wind's blowing as hard as it is now, it'll make a little current. Even in a lake, it'll make a little current. And it'll make all that eelgrass, instead of standing up, it'll all kind of lay over like this. You know, the wind's blowing this way, so it'll all kind of lay over like this. And for whatever reason, it's really hard to get the fish to bite on a side cast. So if if all the eelgrass is laid over like this and you're trying to cast across the eelgrass like this, they just don't seem to bite it very good. You almost need to cast, when the eelgrass is laying over like this, you need to cast with it or straight into the wind so your baits come through that eelgrass a little bit better. And it's just weird that you would think when they're biting as good as they are today that it wouldn't make any difference, who cares? But I mean, I've got so few bites throwing crossways. You know, I'm sitting here on the power poles. You know, we got this spot, that's where we're catching them. And you have to throw either straight back or straight forward to get it to come through the grass right, or you can't get a bite. Hey guys, I want to give you the B&W trailering tip of the week. And this is something that I should have paid attention to a little more myself. I just recently had a flat tire on my new Falcon boat. I've had flat tires for no big deal. Well, a lot of these trailers now are coming with these custom wheels, okay? Well, I've been carrying a 4-way, and I made sure that I knew what size my lugs were, or 3/4. But what I didn't make sure is that my 4-way could actually fit inside the hole on these custom wheels. So make sure, because the hole on there sometimes is too small for that 4-way. So you want to make sure that you bring a socket, a deep well socket, that will actually get in there and fit in there, and make sure that you have whether you have a breaker bar or just a 1/2-inch drive, whatever, but that you can actually get that on there, because believe it or not, on some of these wheels, your 4-way won't work. Get the right size socket, and that way you're prepared if you get a flat out there on the road. He likes being under the Falcon. I like being in the Falcon. Come here, young man. Got him. Look at that. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We are catching nice ones. Just super, super simple rig. Look how pretty. Absolutely pretty these Stick Marsh fish are. I mean, they're just, look how white colorations on them are just freaking amazing, man. God, I love these fish in this lake. Yeah, that goes to show you, and I think this is something that bass fishermen in general just don't do enough. We've been sitting here with the power poles down, I don't know, 20 minutes maybe in the same spot. I have not picked up the power poles. Power poles have stayed in the bottom. Not one time. We've caught a 5-pounder. We've caught one close to 4. We've caught, I don't know how many 2.5. So we jumped off that one that was like 7. And we haven't moved. So many times, bass fishermen, they catch a fish and they're just going, they just keep going. They don't realize, you know, that when you catch one, they're in schools. There's probably more of them there, and Power Pole has just like, that company has definitely changed fishing, but it's let us learn a lot more about fishing. Like, I had no idea before, when we couldn't stop that easily, that to just, when you get a bite, just stop and make a couple of more casts. I mean, this is fun. So, you know, sometimes, and a lot of times I'm not a big Carolina rig guy, but I have seen some times down here, post spawn, which is right what we're in right here, these fish are just getting done spawning, where the old ball and chain, the Carolina rig, just can be magical. And we're sitting here, we're in a good spot right now. We've caught a bunch of nice fish right here. Bites slowed down a little bit, and I've just been throwing just that standard Texas rig net bait salt lick. Well, I'm tying up a Carolina rig, and I'm gonna put a net bait dagger on it, and it's just like a little creature bait. You guys see me use it for punching all the time and pitching into holes in the grass all the time with it. It's just a little creature bait, but I'm gonna rig one of those up on a Carolina rig, and with those little wings on that dagger, that guy kind of floats pretty good, and it's really good on a Carolina rig, because with those real flat little wings on it, it glides and floats real easy behind the weight. So I'm just thinking, hey, instead of picking up and taking off, let's try the old ball and chain, see what happens. Yeah, so I got this Carolina rig tied up here. We just started throwing it. I like to throw it, you know, I'm a tall guy, so typically I like to use a little bit longer rods, but I throw it on a Halo KS2 Elite. It's a 7.5 medium heavy, and I like that. Like, I have a bite right there. Yep, look here, Carolina rig right off the bat. Yeah. I knew that rig, that Carolina rig, was going to get those fish to bite. You know, we caught quite a few on that salt lick, and then, you know, they kind of got off that a little bit. So that gliding around that dagger will do, I mean, almost right away, he just could not stand it. You see how that dagger will it'll float so nice. And just up behind that, just giving them a totally different presentation. And they like it. Good one. Something's happened, fellas. Something's happened. Bulls, this is what we call Palm Bay biggin'. You ready? You ready, little friend? Big friend. You ready, big friend? How about that, boys? Just a matter of time. I mean, that trocar has got her absolutely stabbed in the bottom, though. But guess what? As long as that trocar gets them, and they're that big, that is all that matters. Yeah, we caught so many fish today. We caught them on top water. We caught them on spinner bait, nickel spinner baits. We caught them on nickel swim jig. I mean, we caught so many. You saw we caught a couple of big ones. Another one like that. What an awesome, awesome day. Guys, thanks for coming. Thanks for watching another episode of The Fishing Show with JT Kenny. And guess what? We were in Palm Bay again, catching big ones.
The Fishing Show with JT Kenny is brought to you by Florida Space Coast. Plan your next adventure at visitspacecoast.com. American Bait Works, B&W Trailer Hitches, Ardent Reels, Mercury, Go Boldly, Falcon Boats, Go Fish, Nichols Lures, Trocar. Greenway Plants reminds you to thank a farmer. Power Pole,